A few years ago, I was an angry, blue-haired feminist. Feminism is a scam. A few years ago, I was an angry, blue-haired feminist. I once believed that male privilege was real and that I was a victim of the wage gap. Now that I understand the true motives of feminism, I know that this could not be further from the truth.
Yeah, now that I decided to get on TikTok and realize that like misogyny is popping, dude. Oh my god, I know the truth. It's so good.
Feminism is way more popular, especially with Zoomers, especially with people on Twitch and TikTok. Like Hassan himself, for example. And it's weird that he thinks the way to get popular is to do exactly the opposite of the thing that made him popular.
Back to the feminism is fake thing.
Which meant they weren't working jobs and couldn't be taxed. Our overlords didn't like that. Rockefeller started funding feminist campaigns in media, and as a consequence of the movement, women started entering the workforce and leaving the home. Children would then be separated from their parents and sent to Rockefeller-funded schools to be indoctrinated by the state.
Never really happened. You know, most women never actually stayed at home. Before the Industrial Revolution, everyone just worked where they lived, and when the Industrial Revolution meant that people were producing enough wealth to free some people from work altogether, the people who benefited most were women and children, along with the capitalist investor class. Children got to go into education instead of down coal mines. Women, well, some of them got to not work, an increasing proportion over time. Men got, weekends at least. Disabled people got some support, unemployed people even got benefits. Eventually, at least.
All of this ultimately disrupting the family unit at its core. Feminism is defined as the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes. But in the West, I must ask, what rights do men have that women don't? Modern feminists are convincing women that hookup...
I don't know, like control over their own pussy, dude. I mean, that's one. I'm being really fucking gross in the language that I'm using.
Men have more control of their pussies than women do, that's his position. And if we're talking about the control people have over their own bodies, and men having more than women, then we're definitely not talking about imprisonment, we're not talking about community service, we're not talking about military conscription. So what's left? Obviously, he's going to be talking about abortion. As if male rape victims don't get told to pay child support all the time.
But like, that's literally one of the fundamental things that like women don't have that men do. You know what I mean? You're a guy, you're not getting punished, okay? And that's like, yeah, to a certain degree.
Men, of course, get punished far more harshly in the criminal justice system, and boys do in the education system. I think he's talking about abortion still, but I'm really not sure.
That's basic biology, but like what you can do, the steps you can do to deal with it are very different. That's pretty, I don't know, it's kind of important. It's like, it's something that impacts like 50% of the fucking population. What are you talking about? What are you even talking about? What do you mean, what am I talking about?
All of my knowledge of Hassan comes from people making fun of him, like EFAP are making fun of him and JXE, and yeah, it seems pretty consistent that his chats are a lot more intelligent than him. Makes me wonder why they're wasting their time with him, really.
Hello? Are you familiar with the Supreme Court case? And the Supreme Court decision that struck down Roe v. Wade? Have you been in here for the past, like, month or so? I don't know. Were you in a coma? Did you just wake up today?
Speaking of chats, look at that. How can you forget about circumcision like this? That's a base chat message. That's good stuff.
Toxic masculinity.
No, dude. The fucking not shaving is liberation is a pendulum, okay? That is just a pendulum swing. Patriarchal...
I think he said patriarchal. Patriarchal is a new one. How is Hassan so successful? He's really loud, but he doesn't really seem to say anything that's worth hearing.
Constructs have created and designed a society that makes it so that the way that a woman looks and fitting a certain standard of beauty, especially Western standards of beauty, is the most important thing a woman can do. And it's so incredibly prescient, it's so powerful that it unironically determines how women feel about themselves, okay? So the pendulum shift in the other direction.
I can't help noticing that Hassan obviously works out a lot. Just maybe, women shaving their legs is not the only form of expectation that's put onto people. Maybe there are even some sort of expectations put on men sometimes, I don't know.
That's it. Just do it. Do your thing. Do your thing. But that is a consequence of patriarchal constructs and people that are completely fucking powerless in the face of dealing with systemic change, taking matters into their own hands. And it's also basically commoditized social justice, because capitalism runs every part of our lives, including social justice. So that is an inoffensive way to make a statement, okay? That's it, which is why corporations and the capitalist structure can be on board with it. Oh, yeah, queen, go ahead. Don't shave your armpits like you're killing it, okay?
Actually, women shaving their legs and armpits was originally promoted by a razor blade company, so it's the opposite. Capitalism is sort of responsible for this. Not that that necessarily makes it a problem. And Hassan, he talks a lot and loud, and seemingly is wrong about everything, from facts to like basic ideas. And I'd like him to at least be stupid faster, because he just says too many words.
And as far as like hormonal birth control goes, yeah, that is fucking horrible. That's horrible. There should be better, there absolutely should be better medical medicine, better medical technology in that field. But unfortunately, considering another consequence of patriarchy, which is that the fields of medicine and everything else has been dominated by men for...
Okay, I'm going to stop him there. Does he think that men have some sort of non-hormonal birth control in widespread use? Because that's just not true. And I've heard all the basic TikTok takes about medical treatment, you know, and none of it's true. Women actually get better treatment, longer life expectancies, more research funding, the whole thing. But specifically a non-hormonal form of birth control, I mean, that's something that, yeah, men just don't have, and I got no idea why he brought this up as something to blame on the patriarchy.
So, you can say I'm being like a fucking woke social justice warrior or some shit, but like, it is the truth. That like, when you have, when you have a field dominated historically by dudes, dudes don't really care to or truly understand or can't truly comprehend the depths of the pussy. That's why someone like Ben Shapiro, who is married to a fucking doctor...
Man, that's just straight up sexism. And also completely incorrect, partly because biology has always had plenty of women in it. Biological research is largely dominated by women, and it's easily the most feminine area of STEM. But also because this is just nonsense. Men and women can both be equally effective doctors, and can be doctors equally effectively for patients of both sexes. A far bigger concern would be medical research spending, and that's something which is completely dominated by research into women's illnesses.
Can still come out and say, oh, if your pussy is wet, that means you have a medical, disorder.
Feminists are convincing women that hookup culture, using hormonal birth control, and not shaving is liberation. That toxic masculinity is prevalent and the patriarchy must be dismantled. Through movies and media, we're taught that working for the man, climbing the corporate ladder, and paying tax is more empowering and valuable than raising the next generation. Women have lost touch with our natural loving instincts, and birth rates are plummeting.
I mean, I've said...
It's ironic that she's saying this, really, because the whole idea that women have more natural loving instincts or are better with children than men is actually a result of feminist advocacy. Originally sort of proto-feminist, as in long enough ago that they didn't even use the term feminism. But yeah, back in the 19th century, the Tender Years Doctrine, the idea that young children should spend their time with women, that was something that feminists introduced. It was something they invented, it was something that they did lobbying to have enacted into law. And the idea of women as more nurturing, the fact of most teachers being female, these are things which post-date that political development. So Hassan and the Treadwife girl are really just arguing from different feminist positions here.
I've said this before, and I will say it again. What are you doing about it, huh? Why are you on TikTok? Why are you on TikTok?
Is TikTok contrary to feminine gender roles? I don't really think it is. And also what she's doing about it is like raising awareness and trying to recruit people. You know, basically exactly what Hassan's doing, except he's on Twitch.
Go churn some butter with the rest of the fucking Amish. I fucking despise trad femmes on TikTok. Bro, why are you on TikTok? Do you understand what is going on this platform? I'm serious. You can't be fucking trad femme and then put bisexual lighting behind you and then talk about how fucking feminism sucks. Why should anybody listen to you? If you don't want anybody to listen to you, why are you on TikTok?
Is purple inherently bisexual now? I struggle to keep up with this nonsense, you know.
Why are you trying to get people to listen to you if your argument is women should not be seen or heard? I don't get it. It's literally a self-defeating argument.
Well, obviously that's not her argument. Her argument is that women should be able to stay at home and not work, and should be able to spend time with children and that sort of thing. You know, what she sees as traditional gender roles, which isn't entirely accurate, because like I was saying, that's actually a relatively modern development, but also isn't the same thing as women just having to shut up and never be heard.
Through movies and media, we're taught that working for the man, climbing the corporate ladder and paying tax is more empowering and valuable than raising the next generation. Women have lost touch with our natural loving instincts and birth rates are plummeting. Men and women are not the same. And by protesting for equality of outcome rather than opportunity, feminists are demonizing and emasculating men.
Oh, poor man being demonized and emasculated. Work harder. Work harder. If you're a man, and you're fucking so intimidated by women in the workplace, then work fucking harder. Don't be a bitch. Work harder.
I'm not sure who he's talking to here, because she's not a man. She's a woman. Like, it's pretty clear. So he's criticising the traditional feminine person there for being a man who doesn't work hard enough? Because there are no men involved in this conversation. There are no men in this video who are saying that they're insecure about women. Just Hassan sounding like a 19th century factory owner because he has no principles.
I don't give a fuck that women are in the workplace. That makes me fucking grind harder, motherfucker. Why? Because I'm a top G, a real top G.
Isn't this exactly what she's saying? Like, she's framing it in terms of taxation, but her basic position here is that the Rockefellers, specifically, wanted to get women into the workplace. More workers, more competition for jobs, people have to work harder to get by. And all she wants is for women to be freed from that, and all he wants is for men to not be freed from that. If these two weren't on opposite teams, there's no reason they couldn't just agree on everything.
By the way, it wasn't bait. It was set up in the dumbest way possible, so I of course thought it was fucking bait. But no. Oh, she's an NFT cuck? Oh, no shit.
Before the pandemic, I was traveling around the world as a professional contortionist and foot archer, performing for different circuses, events, and doing street shows. And
Yeah, she was like, I want to be a whole ass clown and not just a contortionist. Like, before the pandemic, I was a fucking contortionist. Now I'm a whole clown. We need to fucking empower men by being property.
Yeah, she never mentioned empowering men. She never really even mentioned men at all. She just wants to be a trad wife, and who wouldn't, you know? But Hassan is responding to some hallucination that only exists in his head.
We need to empower men by being property to men once again? Like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Stop talking.
So that's the first time I've actually watched a Hassan clip, and yeah, he's really, really bad. Maybe worse than Zanderhall? Zanderhall is dogmatic and not very bright, but at least he actually responds to what people are saying to him. He doesn't just make it up as he's going along. And I suppose this is the legacy of the Young Turks. They were a factory for idiots who went off and did their own thing, and as one of Cenk's close relatives, Hassan is really the king of that stuff. The ultimate beneficiary of nepotism. I doubt we'll find anyone who is any worse than this.